Hey guys, Rocky here with Wild Edge Outdoors. Hey, today we're going to be doing a little comparison of some rod holders for your kayak. I got 4 different rod holders here that are some of the most popular ones. We've got a Scotty, got a RailBlaza, got a Yack and a Ramrod. We'll go through several different comparisons and see which one performs best. Hey, I just want to let you know that none of these people have sent me any products or money, anything. Okay, we'll look at each one individually. Here's the Scotty, and I bought each one of these on Amazon. And the Scotty goes for $29.43, and Scotties are made in Canada. Okay, next is the RailBlaza, and the RailBlaza was $35.99, and they are made in New Zealand. Next we have the Yack. The Yack is $29.95 and made in the USA. And last we have the Ramrod. That came in at $41.99 and they are also made in USA. Next we're going to take a look at the rail mounts, the part that actually connects your rod holder to your kayak. Okay, first we'll take a look at the Scotty. There's the foot mount, and see how easy it goes into the rail and tightens down. Slide it in, and you twist the entire mount. There, that looks pretty easy to put in. Very solid, easy to put in with one hand. Good, easy grip. Now to loosen it up and move it around. Oh, that's weird. Okay. That's a little harder to loosen up. You got to make sure you get a hold of that bottom part right down here and loosen it up so it'll move around. But to tighten it up, you can grab hold of the top part. But if you take a hold of just the top part, it twists. Yeah, you got to grab that bottom part in order to get it out of there. Might be a little more difficult if you're sitting in the kayak. Next we'll look at the RailBlaza. And you can see the size of the foot on that and the base itself. Slide that in. It's pretty easy to tighten. Loosens up easy. Slides around. Yeah, that one works pretty well. Much easier to loosen than the Scotty. Next we have the Yack, and you can see the size of the foot on there. And for the Yack, it's got a couple of guides here also that stay in the track groove. And this, you have to just turn this top part here. It's not bad, a little harder to tighten that up, but it's good and solid. Pretty easy to loosen that up. And yeah, it's good and solid. You don't even have to tighten it that much and it stays in really well. Next we have the Ram. That's a ball. It's got this little gasket here. It looks like it's got little indents in it. And there's the foot. So we'll just throw that in there. It's good and solid. Tightens down pretty good. Pretty easy to tighten up. It's a good grip on that ball. Okay, I've got a piece of track here that I can put 3 of them on. It wasn't long enough to get all 4 on, but you can see the foot of each one. This is the Scotty, RailBlaza, and Yack Attack. You can see the Scotty is a good sized foot. The RailBlaza is a much smaller foot. And then the Yack Attack is about the same size as the Scotty. Throw the ram in there and you can see that's pretty much just a little bit smaller than the Scotty and Yack Attack, but a little bit bigger than the RailBlaza. Okay, and next we're going to take a look at the adjustability of these. Here's the Scotty. Let's see how it goes in. It just pushes right in. It's solid in there. In order to remove it, just twist this. You can see this little lever pops out a little bit. So we'll just twist it. It pops out. Kind of stiff popping out. Maybe it's because this one's pretty much new. I can see that going over the side real easy if you don't have a good hold on it. Then you put it in just a little bit, move it over. Once you put it in, you have to release it in order to pop it up and move it to another spot. It doesn't lock in automatically. Now it does. Now it's sprung back. Yeah, it's a little stiff. I don't know how long that would take to break in. Okay, and adjustability up and down. Loosen this. It does not have any spring to hold it in there, so you can see that you have to move it, and it's got these notches. Okay, I'm just trying to get this one out of here. I guess I got it too tight. It's very difficult to get out of there. There we go. Of course I had to use my trusty channel lock. Okay, next we'll try the RailBlaza. Now the RailBlaza has this little ring on here that you push back and forth. In order to lock it in and unlock it. And it pushes in, and then it locks in. To move it at all, gotta push it, pull it all the way out. Trying to be totally objective here, but I have to admit I don't like that little ring. I can see when my fingers are cold, if I'm out there when it's cold out, that it's a little difficult to get that ring pushed in and out. This one pops up and down a little easier than the Scotty, but there's no adjustment at all without taking it all the way out. And these gears are pretty wide, so it's quite a distance back and forth. If you want a small increment to adjust it, you're going to have to move the whole mount, which seems pretty easy to move that. Yeah, that moves really easy even after I tighten it. Okay. Yeah, well, we'll go over that later. Okay, well, let's look at rod adjustability up and down. Got a knob here that adjusts out. And this one also pretty much the same as the Scotty. It's got these notches here. And it's just loose in there. Knob is round, little indents on it, but I can see where that would be a little slippery at times. You know, when you catch all those fish and get fish slime on you. Okay, there we go with the RailBlaza. Next we got the Yack. Slide that in. Now this is a little harder to really crank down on because it's such a small surface, but it doesn't seem like you have to crank it down that much. I mean, once it's in there, I mean, that's just finger tight basically. Okay, to set this in, you have a lever system on here, and there's a little lever inside. In order to open this up, you have to hit this little one in there so it will come out. So you open it up all the way, set it down, and now it's locked into place. In order to adjust it, you just push this down. You can lift it up a little bit, and it goes in very small increments. Then let go and it's locked into place again. And then to remove it, yeah, I like that. Easy. And then to adjust it up and down, it's got a nice knob here. You do have to unscrew it quite a ways, and this actually there's a, I don't know if you can see that, but there's a spring right in there. So you push it in, and this has, as you can see on here, it's got smaller indents, so you can adjust it in smaller increments. And then the spring pops it right back into place, but you do have to tighten it up, otherwise it will move. But it keeps everything under tension all the time. So there's the Yack. Okay, next the ram. I'll just slide that in. This has this ball and a clamp system, so you loosen it up and you tighten this up, and that grabs hold of the ball. And of course, this has one adjustment here, and it has infinite adjustments, and you can go anywhere with that, just very slight. But it also has another adjustment here, so you can adjust the actual rod holder itself. This has some very big notches here. This is also spring-loaded, so you can see the increments at this. you got to tighten it back up. This one you could actually lay it off to the side if you wanted to. Not sure why you'd want to, but you can do it. Okay, that's the ram. Alright, let's look at rod security. This is the Scotty. It's got a little strap here. It goes across and it straps onto this little knob here. It does seem to kind of be in the way if you want to just lay it in there real quick. You do have to use two hands to get that out of the way, or yeah, it stays pretty much there. You can't hardly put it off to the side, but you can slide it in, get the rod to lay in there, pull that over. And I don't know how important this is for most people. I never use this rod security thing unless I've got it sitting in a precarious way. Now to take it out, it's not going anywhere. Pull that, and then you can just pull the rod out. Next is the RailBlaza. RailBlaza has this little sleeve that goes across. So we just set the rod in. And just slide that over. To get it out, just flip it over, pop it out. RailBlaza also has this little lock here, so you can only put it in so far. That's good for certain rods. That goes in and out pretty quick and easy. Next we have the Yack Attack. Yack Attack has just like the RailBlaza. It's got this sleeve that goes across, but this one can go either way. You can go left or right, whereas the RailBlaza only went one way. I don't know if that's a big deal, but it's a difference. So just throw that in there. Lock it in. Goes in and out pretty easy. It's funny, it looks like the reel is supposed to just lay in there a certain way, but there's no real good place for it to lay in there. Sitting like that, that's fine. I guess you can tilt it either way so you can see your rod or your line counter. Next, we've got our ram mount. Okay, the ram mount has this, it looks like a strap, but it's actually hard plastic. And it flips over. That's actually not that easy to... Kind of expected you could just flop it. You almost have to pull it away and flip it. That lays in there pretty nice. Flip that over. Go away. Whoa, I didn't expect that. That comes out on its own. Yeah, that's not a very good security system at all. Okay, well, yeah, to get it out of there, just got to pull that. I don't know, that comes off way too easy. I mean, it comes off. Yeah, that works pretty well if you want to do it manually. But I don't even know why you'd put it on there if it comes off like that. Although it does catch, so your rod isn't going anywhere, but I don't know, that seems a little sketchy. Alright, the next thing we're going to check out is how it actually performs when a fish hits. What we're trying to see is, does this stay in place when a fish hits? Okay, so our test is going to be, it's in the rod holder. I've got a rod on it. I'm going to have the drag fully engaged, no drag at all, and then we're going to pull on the line. I'll show you how this is going to look. So I just got a hold of the string here, and I'm just going to pull on the line, and we'll see if that base stays steady. So we'll do the exact same test on each one. I'm going to show you. I'm going to crank this thing down with one hand. Okay, that's as tight as I can get it with one hand. Put the rod holder back in there. Watch right here, see if this spins at all. Wow, I'm barely pulling on this thing. I'll show you how much I'm pulling on it. You should be able to see the bend of the rod. I mean, it's barely doing anything, and that thing's just spinning. That's not good. Okay, and next we'll try the RailBlaza. Okay, well, it just keeps on moving. Okay, that's about as tight as I can get it. Lock that. What the heck? Well, something happened. Now it doesn't want to lock in place anymore. I don't know if I screwed it up by tightening it up like that. Well, let's go on with our test. Put it in here, lock it in. Watch that base and see what it does. Wow, I'm pulling about the same amount as I did with the Scotty. But I'm not impressed with that at all. I don't know if you can see that. It's just spinning on the base. I mean, you can see that's just barely. That's not good. Yeah, and then this locking mechanism broke. I wonder if I loosen it up, if it'll go back. Yeah, so that's not even locked in there. It's just flopping around in there. Yeah, I don't know what I did. Oh, that's what I did. This ring comes apart right here. There's a little slit right there. I can't seem to get it. Let's see if I can get it to do it again. Yep, I did. By tightening it up, I pulled on that ring, and you can see it separates right there. Just click it back into place and then it works, but it seems like a bit of a flaw to me, because yeah, not impressed. Plus it just spun on the track, just like the Scotty. Okay, let's try the Yack attack. See, and it's a little harder to tighten, but I'm going to try just tightening it just with my fingers like that. Alright, I'm going to pull on it I'm going to pull on it just like I did the other ones. Wow. Did not expect that at all. Maybe I didn't have it in there far enough. Maybe I didn't have this down far enough. Let's try it again. But I was really pulling on that one. Okay. I'm learning stuff here too. Alright. I'm cranking on it. Well, that's not good. Okay, I'm going to do a wide shot so you can see how much I'm pulling on it. It's way more than... Well, that's not good for my rod and reel. Let's take a look at this, how it goes into the track here. Okay, this goes in and lays real well in this track. Looks like it grips really well in there. Maybe it's the track on my Hobie kayak. I'd have to do a little bit more investigating on that. Go with the ram mount. Let's get it the same angle that we've had the other ones. Throw the lock in it for no apparent reason. Let's see, okay, just watch that and see if you see the base move at all. Holy cow. Yeah, that's the base moving. I thought maybe it would move here, but no, it's moving right down here at the base. Let me back up and I'll show you how much I'm pulling on that again. You can see what little bit of a bend there is in the rod holder, or in the rod. I'm really disappointed. Let me see if I can tighten that up at all. Okay. I was able to crank it down a little bit more, see if that makes any difference at all. Not a bit. Wow. Alright, well, that was a surprise on all of them. Alright, let's do a little summarization here. Got the Scotty over here. It's going by the base. It's a little difficult to tighten it up, even more difficult. Well, yeah, it's a little difficult to tighten it up, even more difficult to remove it. The adjustments up and down and side to side, it's not good. Up and down is fine, but side to side is You know, it's just, you got to pop the whole thing out. You gotta use two hands in order to do it. It's stiff. You're almost better off just twisting the base like that because it twists so easily. Security is decent. But if a decent fish strikes, that thing's just gonna spin on you. RailBlaza, the mount, it's easy to tighten down, but I mean, I can't tighten it anymore with my hand. And when I do, then this locking ring breaks. Or I shouldn't say breaks, it comes apart. And it's very hard to get at, or to get this thing. Yeah, it's... Now I can't even unlock it. And of course, the security, that's fine, but it only goes one way. I'm sure you get used to it. But as far as a strike, I mean, that just spins so easily. The Yack attack, I'm very impressed with this for tightening it down. I mean, everything about it, the adjustment on it, you know, taking it off, it's just that lever, it comes off really easy. To adjust it, it just, when you push it in, it pops up on its own, so you can just adjust it in small increments. It didn't spin when I pulled on the rod until it just completely popped out of there violently. If you had a big fish like that really pulling on it, you'd lose your rod, your reel, everything. The ramrod, oh, and getting back to the Yack attack, that had a decent security, good security, because it flips both ways, which I never use that anyways. The security on this ram mount was almost non-existent. It's harder to get it off manually than to just rip the rod and then it just pops off. Tightening the ball isn't too hard. You got infinite adjustments on this thing, and you can do it any way you want. And that's probably the easiest to adjust, but you need two hands to do it. The Yack attack is real easy with one hand. But once again, got a strike, and I barely pulled on that at all, and it just would spin. I hate to say it, I'm not overly impressed with any of them. I've used the Scotty quite a bit. I've used the RailBlaza mount for a couple of things, and I've never been impressed with that mount. It just, that locking mechanism, it just, well, now it works. It's just too hard to push in. I mean, if they had a bigger button or something, I think that would be much better. The Scotty, trying to remove it, it seems, well, you know, I'm even, I don't know, it's just too stiff. Don't like it. I've always loved the Yack attack. I end up using this quite a bit just because they seem more substantial. They have a better adjustment this way. It can't come out when you go to adjust it. I mean, the RailBlaza, in order to adjust it side to side at all, you got to pull the whole thing out. There's no just pulling it out a little bit. I'm very disappointed in how this just popped out of the track. I mean, that's downright scary. Not that I catch that many fish that would pull that hard, but I mean, I was really yanking on that rod, as you could see, but it violently just jumped out of the track. And of course, then you got the ram mount. The adjustment on it is easy. I like the way it adjusts. The security part, that's, I don't know, I think it's kind of a joke, but once again, I never use that. I always have it so that the rod can't come out anyways. But once again, you just pull on it a little bit, and I mean, a decent smallmouth is just going to make that thing turn. And then you got the price point. These two are 30 bucks basically. This was 35, 36, and then this was 42. So I'm having a hard time actually picking one. I tend to go more with the Yack attack. It just bothers me that it jumped out of the track like that, but at the same time I usually have my drag set so it can't pull that hard, and I'm sure probably most of you guys do too, but it's interesting that it gets to a point where it just comes right out of the track. That I don't like. And like I said, it seemed like in that little piece of track that I had that came with one of these other rod holders, it seemed like it's stuck in there real well, and I don't have a way of actually looking at the track underneath here to see. Well, I'd have to take the whole thing apart and look at it, and I might do that. I might look into that a little bit more. But anyways, I guess my overall pick would be the Yack attack, but I'm sure not going to tighten that drag down all the way so that something big can actually really pull on it, because we do out here in Lake Pondere, we do have some very big rainbows that can easily pull that as hard as I did. I mean, way harder than that. But once again, I would have the drag set so it couldn't pull that hard. Well, there you go. Got any questions about them? Any comments? You know where to put them. In the comments below. Yeah, if you found anything enjoyable about this or informative, feel free to subscribe, like the channel, and we'll see you on the next one. See you.